our online computer class. So far we have completed 3 chapters, right? And now we have been learning from 4th chapter. I hope you all are well versed with whatever we have learned so far, right? And today, dear children, we are going to continue with your 4th chapter. So I want all of you to take your textbook, computer textbook, and turn to page number 70. Okay? So before getting into today's topic, let's revise whatever we have learned in the previous class. Okay? So in the previous class, we have learned what is a small basic, why it is used in a computer program, and what are the different features that is available in this language. So everything we have learned in the previous class, right? So now this week we're gonna continue with the features of small basic. Okay, so now I hope you all turn to page number 70, right? Now, so last week I have completed till constants, and this week let me start with variables. Okay, so now dear children, what are variables? So you need to know what is a variable, right? um, for example, okay, let me tell you what is a variable. A variable is a named memory location. So when you look at the definition in your textbook, you can able to see variable is an area in a computer's memory that has a name and stores data temporarily. Okay, so this is the definition given in your textbook. You can take your pencil and underline this. Okay, now listen. A variable is a named memory location. So when you consider a computer's memory as a box, okay, when you imagine computer's memory as a box, you can able to say that a variable is uh, a small box within that big box which is used to store any kinds of data temporarily, and you can name that small box for whatever name you want to give. You can give to that small box, but with some exceptions means there are rules for naming that variable. Okay, see here, these are the rules for naming a variable. A variable name can only include letters, numbers, and underscore character. Okay, you know letters and numbers. Underscore also you know, right? So only it should contain letters, numbers, and underscore. There should not be any special characters like dollar symbol, and symbol, okay, at symbol. Okay, these kinds of symbols are not valid when you use that as a variable. That is wrong. Okay, then the first character must be a letter. Okay, so you can give combination of letters and numbers, but the first character, the first alphabet should be a letter. Okay, then it cannot be a reserved word or small basic. You know what is a reserved word? Some words in this programming language is already predefined. Some of the words are predefined, that will be seeing that in the next topic. Okay, I'll explain you about that in the next topic. Like we have objects. So when you move to page number 73, you have object, property, and method. Okay, so objects are some predefined words. Okay, text window is the object name. So this kind of text window, write line, these words cannot be used as a variable because these words are already predefined. Okay, they are called reserved words. Okay, they cannot be used as variable names. Okay, so you can keep in mind that it should be a letter, it can be a letter, number, or underscore character. It should start with a letter and it should not be a reserved word. Okay, so that is there. These are the rules for naming your variable. Okay, now, so they have given some note also, like a variable name consists more than one word. For example, you can combine two words together for a single variable name, okay, with the help of underscore. You understood? For example, Okay, listen, let me type one variable name with the combination of two words. For example, you can type like memory underscore location. Okay, so this is a variable name. You can take this as a variable name. Okay, so memory is a word and location is a word, and together you are combining it with the help of underscore. Okay, so this both words together along with this underscore can be a single variable name. Okay, so that is what it means here. Okay, that is what is given in this note. Okay, it may be more than, you can combine two words together with the help of underscore. Okay, as a variable name. Now variable name should be meaningful, that is it should identify the information stored in the memory. Okay, for example, when I have you can see that I have considered this as a variable name. Okay, it means that for in this memory location, variable is a memory location, isn't it? So in this variable I'm going to store about something that is related to memory location. Okay, so that is why I have given this name for this variable. So a variable name should always be meaningful. Okay, it shouldn't be like whatever you want, you can able to take as a memory a variable name. Yeah, it is possible that you can able to take whatever name you want as a variable name with a including that exceptions. Okay, so following the rules, you can keep anything as a variable name, but it will become a problem if some other person is working with your program. If you create a program using small basic, and if you are giving it to some other person, if they read your program, they couldn't able to understand what it means, isn't it? So if you keep a valid name for your memory location, for valid name for your variable, then anybody can understand when they read your program. So that is why it should be a meaningful name. Okay, you understood? Now the next thing is, there are different kinds of variable. Okay, now when you want to store data, what is the data? Data is combination of letters and numbers, isn't it? So both alphabets and numbers you call data. Am I correct? Okay, so now even in this page you can consider all these are data. Okay, but when you look deep into it, all these are combinations of numbers and letters, isn't it? So a variable type of variable can also be divided into two main type. One is numeric type, another one is string type. Okay, so numeric type means data that are only numbers. Okay, so only numeric data, number data are called numeric type variables. So the memory location, the variable that is used to store only number data, only numeric type data are called numeric type. Okay, so in numeric type also you have two subtypes. Okay, one is called integer, another one is called floating type. Okay, this you already might have learned in mathematics. When you keep a decimal point in numbers, then you call that floating type. Okay, in computer language, whenever a decimal point is kept, then that kind of numbers are called not decimal numbers. Okay, in computers, in mathematics, you call them as decimal numbers, isn't it? But in computer, you call them as floating type numbers. Okay, so whenever decimal point is kept, it is called floating type. Okay, and other numbers other than this numbers having decimal point, okay, all the other numbers are called integer type. Okay, in simple terms you can say that numbers with decimal point are called floating type, and numbers without decimal point are called integer type. Okay, understood? So both these integer and floating type comes under numeric type variables. Okay, so now numbers are over. So the remaining thing is alphabets, right? So in string type, anything that you enter within double quotation, both numbers and alphabets. Okay, so that is entered within double quotation. Okay, within double quotation or comes under string type. Okay, so now therefore you can call the data that is stored in the string type variables are called characters. Okay, instead of alphabets you can call them character datas. Okay, see here, in this double quotation they have written small basic program. So this is a string type variable. Okay, string type data. Then GUI. Okay, this is an abbreviation, right? But it is it is mentioned within double quotation, therefore it comes under string type. And you can see here it 2 3 4 3. So okay, even mobile numbers also you can type, but that is a number, isn't it? All these are numbers, but since it is mentioned within this double quotation, this comes under string type. You understand, dear children? Even if you write numbers within double quotation, that comes under string type. Okay, that is not numeric type. Okay, numeric type means you should not mention double quotation. So keep in mind, whatever data mentioned within double quotation comes under string type variables. Okay, so next topic is operators and expressions. Okay, so operators or symbols you can call mathematical, nothing but mathematical symbols. Already you have learned in maths. See here, look at this box. In this table you can see plus, minus, asterisk and slash, isn't it? So these symbols are called operators. Understood? So these symbols are called operators, and all these symbols are specifically mentioned for certain operations. Okay, so plus operator denotes addition operation, minus operator denotes subtraction, and asterisk operator denotes multiplication, and slash operator denotes division. Okay, so these operators are mentioned for some operations. Understood? And what is called an expression? Expression is combination of both operators and operands. You know what is operands? So look at this example, 54 plus 35. Okay, so here this plus is a operator, isn't it? So the variables or constants you can call. Already we have learned what are variables and constants, isn't it? So you can consider either 54 and 35 as variables or constants, whatever may be. So variables and constants together with this operator is called expression. Okay, so combination of this variables and constants which are called operands. Okay, these variables and constants which are used to perform certain tasks, okay, with the help of an operator is called expression. Okay, so now here addition operation needs to be performed for these two operands, isn't it? For these two variables. For these two variables, you need to perform addition operation. Therefore, these two variables are called operands here. And this plus is called operator. Okay, and all together, both these operands and this operator together is called expression. Okay, so this is an expression, this is an expression, this is also an expression, and this is also an expression. Okay, understood now what is operators and expressions? Okay, now let's learn more about arithmetic operators. Okay, now whenever you want to calculate, whenever you want to solve an expression, if it is a big expression consisting of many operators, then first of all you should solve the operands within the bracket. Then you should solve the multiplication sign, then division, then addition, and finally subtraction. Okay, so this is the order of expression. So let me explain you with this example. Look here, look at this third expression, 12 slash and within bracket 2 asterisk 3, isn't it? So first you should solve bracket. So asterisk denotes multiplication, right? So now you have to multiply these two numbers first. 2 into 3 is 6, right? Now after this you have to consider whether you have okay, so after this you should see whether you have another multiplication symbol. You don't have another multiplication symbol here, but you have division, right? So you don't have any other um, operator other than the slash, so directly you can divide. Okay, so 12 divided by, the answer of 2 into 3 is 6, so 12 divided by 6. So the answer is, when you multiply 12 by 6 you get 2, isn't it? So the answer is here 2. Okay, so this is how you need to follow the order in expression for solving any problem. You understood? So that is what it means. Next thing is comparison operator. Okay, so comparison operator is for making some decisions. So for example, when you want compare two things, in the name you can able to find that it is used to compare two things. Okay, so whenever you want to compare two things, you can use this comparison operators. Okay, look here, these are the operators used for comparing two things. So this is greater than symbol, less than, greater than or equal to. This is called greater than or equal to. This is less than or equal to. This is equal to symbol, and this is not equal to symbol. Okay, all these are used for comparing. So the final decision, when you compare two things, one will be true, another will be false, isn't it? So when you take two numbers and when you check whether one number is greater than another number, either it should be true or it should be false, isn't it? So now when you take this as example, A greater than B. Okay, so in alphabetical order, A is lesser than B, isn't it? So for example, this you can consider as 1 greater than 2, isn't it? So 1 is first. In numerical order, 1 is first and 2 is next to 1. Similarly, A is first and B is next to A in alphabetical order, right? So A is not greater than B, it is less than B, since 1 is less than 2, right? 1 is less than 2 when you compare. So here also A is not greater than B, so the result is false here. Okay, now A is less than B, this is correct, right? So the answer is true. So similar to that, all the other operators are checked here. So the answers will be either true or false. That is it. Okay, so when you use a comparison operator, the answer will be true or false. Okay, so the next thing is logical operator. So logical operators are used to combine results of two or more comparison operators. Okay, so look here, so A greater than B is here the comparison operator is used. Okay, and A is not equal to C, here also comparison operator is used. So the result of these two operators can be combined with the help of this logical operator. Okay, so that is why logical operators are used. You have two logical operators in small basic. One is called AND operator, another one is called OR operator. Okay, so you can underline this AND and OR. Take pencil and underline this. Okay, so AND operator will return true. Okay, so even here also you can keep in mind, similar to comparison operator, logical operators are also used to give true or false result. It will give either true result or false result. That is it. Okay, so let's see when it gives true result and when it gives false result. Okay, so now AND operator will return true if both the expressions are true. Take pencil and underline this, dear children. The AND operator returns true if both the expressions are true. Okay, so otherwise it returns false. If both the expression, look, A greater than B is false, A is not equal to C is true. Now when these two results are compared, one result is false Okay, so whenever one result is false and another is true, the answer is false. So AND operator will return false if one among the two operator returns false. Okay, but if both the operator returns true, look here also it's true and here also it's true. Therefore, the result is true here. Okay, so OR operator, let's see OR operator now. OR operator is just opposite to this AND operator. Okay, it returns true even if one among the two values, one among the two results are true. Look here, so here is false and here is true. Since you have one true here, the result will be true. Here also one true is present, the result is true. But if both the results are false, if both the values are false, then result is also false. Okay, here both the values are true, so the result is true. So this is the specialty of OR operator. Okay, understood, dear children? So there are only two logical operators in small basic. One is and another one is OR. Okay, and these are the functions of and OR. So next thing is string concatenation. Okay, so string concatenation is, so far now we have learned how to combine words, how to combine numbers, isn't it? What are the operations we can make using numbers? We can add two numbers, we can subtract, we can divide, isn't it? So if we want to add two words, okay, that can be done with the help of this string concatenation. Okay, so two sentences or two words can be combined using this plus sign with the help of this string concatenation logic. Okay, so look at this example. Concatenated string equals, they have given one string. Whenever something is mentioned within double quotation, it is a string, isn't it? So this is one string and this is another string, and both are combined with the help of plus operator. Okay, now what you are going to do is you are going to join one string with another string, and this word concatenated string is the variable name. Okay, so after joining these two strings, the combination of these two strings, the result of this will be stored in this variable. Okay, so that is why this name is given. So you can give any name, you can even give A, B, C also. You can give any other variable name. Okay, but as I have already told you, when you give a valid name or a meaningful name to your variable, then it will be easy for others to understand. Even now you can able to understand concatenated string is the name of this variable, isn't it? So by reading this name itself, you can able to understand that. So the variable holds concatenated string. That means combination of strings, isn't it? So this is how your variable name should be. Now when you run this in a program, when you type this in a program and when you run this, your output will be learning small basic is fun. So learning small basic plus is fun, together it will be given as output. Learning small basic is fun. This is the output. Okay, now you understand what is string concatenation. Okay, so you are going to combine two strings. Okay, so that is called string concatenation. So next thing is comment. Okay, so comments means it is not executable thing in a program. So when you type something as a comment, that will not be executed by the computer. Okay, so whatever is typed as a comment will be displayed as it is in the output screen. Okay, so for example, when you type this concatenated string equals, so these two strings you have mentioned, so when you type this and run this, the result of this particular statement will be displayed, isn't it? So as it is, it will not be displayed in the output screen. It will be not like concatenated equals, no, it will not be like that. It will be like learning small basic is fun. That means your computer will read this statement it will execute it, and only the output will be displayed in the output screen. Okay, not the exact statement. The exact statement will not be displayed, isn't it? But when you type something as a comment in your program, the exactly whatever you have typed will be displayed in the output screen. Okay, so that can be done. So whenever you want to type a comment, you should use this single apostrophe. See, look at this apostrophe. Okay, this apostrophe symbol is used to type any comment. Okay, so this is helpful when some people, some other person, not only you, some other person is reading your program, they can able to understand what a particular line in your program means. Look here, roll number equals 15. You are typing this and you are giving this comment. So since it starts with apostrophe, this is a comment. Class roll number of the student. Okay, so the roll number equal to 15 means, so roll number of a particular class, roll number of a particular student. It is the meaning of this particular line, isn't it? So similar to this, you can give any type of comments in your program. So that is possible with the help of this apostrophe. Okay, so you have to start any comment with apostrophe. Okay, even here concatenated string, here also you can type with a single, you can start here, one apostrophe you can type here, then you can type this is a combination of two strings, you can type. So in the output screen, how it will be is learning in the output screen, you can, in the output screen you cannot able to see whatever you have typed after this apostrophe. Okay, okay, again I tell you. So comments will be displayed in your program. Okay, and whenever somebody else is reading your program, this comments will be helpful for them to understand a line. Okay, any line in your program. But these are not executable. These will not be run by your computer. Your computer will read this and ignore that. Okay, therefore in output screen you cannot able to see whatever you write in the comment. Okay, you understood that? So even now roll number equal to 15 you have typed, and you have typed this comment. This comment will not be visible in the output screen. Okay, so this is for humans to understand a particular line, that's all. Okay, your computer will just ignore that. You understood? So that is a comment. It will be ignored by computer and it is used for humans to understand particular line in your program. That's it. Understood, dear children, what is a comment? Okay, always you should write a comment by starting with apostrophe. Okay, so next thing is object, property and method. So this is very important topic. Okay, so using this alone you can able to type any program in small basic. Okay, so object means it is the fundamental building block of small basic. Take your pencil and underline this. An object is a fundamental building block of small basic. Okay, dear children, since this is a very important topic, I want to start it fresh. Okay, so far we have seen some of the basic features of small basic, isn't it? So just revise them. Okay, go through them, read them once again and try to understand it better. Okay, so let's start what is object, property and method in the next class. Okay, dear children? Okay. So if you have any doubts while learning this, you can text me to my personal WhatsApp number. Okay, dear children, thank you. Have a great day.